So, Andrew, we are running out of time, but I do want to ask about lockouts.
Yeah.
That's been a threat since 2019. I faced them. Did I have to work 8 days a week to make sure I don't get locked out? That's how bad it was.
Yep.
And these previous ones, they were really bad for drivers, where it changed the whole game. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, what is the guarantee, or what has IDG done and TLC done with to fix this issue so drivers never get locked out again?
Yeah. So the lockouts were the worst thing that happened in the industry since it started, for sure. Mm-hmm. Because the whole point of this industry is you can work when you want to work.
Yeah.
Or more importantly, you can work when you have to work.
Yeah.
Right. So I've got a rent payment coming up in 2 days. I got to get a bunch of hours in so that I can pay my rent. Suddenly you turn on your phone and they say, sorry, you're not working today. Oh my God, how am I going to pay rent? Like, drivers count on that flexibility and that ability to work when they need to work. And Uber and Lyft really broke that agreement and said, well, no, now you really can't work whenever you need to work. We're going to decide when you get to work. Mm-hmm. And so the reason they did that was because if they could, basically what they were doing was they were pretending drivers weren't working when they were, right? Yeah. So like, we're going to send you on a trip out to Staten Island to drop somebody off. And then on your way back to Manhattan to get your next ride, we're going to make you turn off your app because, we don't think you're going to be able to pick somebody up. Yeah. Or there's just, we don't think there's enough drivers. There's too many drivers on the road right now. So we're not going to let you work a whole day or whatever. And all of that was really about manipulating the way that the Taxi and Limousine Commission sets rates.
Yeah.
Because the way they set rates is they say, for all the time you have your app on, how much of that time do you have someone in your car? How much of that time are you waiting to get your next trip?
Yeah.
And they got to make sure that they pay enough during this period to cover the whole time. And so Uber was saying, well, this time when you're waiting for passengers, we're going to just turn off your app. So they won't count all that time. And that's how they were able to they were hoping to drive rates down. Well, we screamed and yelled. We had rallies. We had a caravan. We protested in front of Uber. We testified in front of the TLC. We called them all the time, like, you got to stop this. This is crazy. They're just, screwing around with your rules. And what the TLC ended up doing was a whole bunch of things that have put an end to the lockouts, hopefully for good. Hopefully. Now, we called on them to say, just make this illegal.
Yeah.
And the TLC says, well, we're not allowed to do that because businesses can do what they want to. We can't just make it illegal. Right. We can do the next best thing. We can make it so that they don't make money doing this anymore.
Gotcha.
And so if Uber and Lyft don't make money doing something, they don't do it.
Right.
And so far that's been the case. And so the first thing they did was they said, we're not going to look at the data from the period of time when you're doing lockouts because you were really essentially lying about when workers were working.
Yeah.
And we're not going to trust you on that. So they set the rates based on period of time before the companies were locking out.
Gotcha.
The second thing they did was they said, going forward, it's going to be really hard for you to lock out. We're going to throw all kinds of obstacles in your way. So the first thing is you can't lock someone out unless you give them 3 days notice beforehand. So none of this, we're sending you to Long Island, to Staten Island, and then on the way back, we're turning off your app. To reinforce that, they said, once you start working a shift, they can't lock you out until your shift is over. They say that's a 16-hour window that they can't lock you out. So if they let you start working, even if they gave you 3 days notice, they can't stop you from working. So those two things together, and just as importantly, maybe more importantly, saying, and we're never going to take your, bullcrap data again. If you try to manipulate the data, we're not going to use that data. All of that taken together we've heard from drivers that the lockouts have stopped. Now, if you get locked out, I'm going to say this right to the camera. If any driver gets locked out after August 1st, please call the IDG office. If you work with one of our organizers, call the organizer right away and let them know. We expect these rules to end lockouts for good, but if we missed something, if the companies figure out some way to make money locking you out, we need to know about that right away and jump on it right away. So if you get locked out, call IDG.
Yep, that's true, guys. IDG will always be here for you. And I do want to appreciate IDG for the last caravan they did. It started raining. They did block off FDR. And I was the first in the nation where drivers still gathered for this lockout issue, for raise issues, for so many issues. But this was the first where they actually, in the rain, they actually organized this. IDG is the world's largest organization protecting drivers, and IDG has a set history to do a protest in the rain. That's never been done. So, Andrew, I just want to thank you for this. I appreciate you coming and helping us out. I appreciate everything you do in the background. That even some of the stuff we don't see, but the best part is you do understand drivers. You do understand their issues, and you do try your best to keep on taking care of them.
Thank you, Malik. It's my pleasure. I work for the drivers. They're my boss.
Yeah.
I take that very seriously. And I just really appreciate that I get the opportunity to work on something that I think really matters and that I care about.
Thank you, guys. Guys, do me a favor, drop your questions, comments, concerns in the comments, and we will hand them to you.
Thank you.
All right, Andrew. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Drive safe.